In June 2019, Red Bull South Africa, the Red Bull Formula One display team, and legend of the sport David Coulthard took over the streets of Cape Town for an entire weekend. Cars.co.za was given exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the film shoot, which saw David Coulthard take on a minibus taxi through the streets of Cape Town. You absolutely must watch that video on redbull.com. The link is in the description below. On the Sunday, just before David Coulthard was due to run the Red Bull V8 Formula One car, and while tens of thousands of South Africans were streaming into downtown Cape Town, I was given the opportunity to have a brief chat with the man himself in the makeshift pit garage that the team had set up for the event. David Coulthard is not only a sporting icon, but he is an absolute gentleman, and it was an enormous privilege to spend some time with him.
Mr. Coulthard, thank you for your time, sir. Really appreciate it. South Africa, Cape Town, you've actually been here as a tourist, now you're here for a little bit of work, but you're a fan of the city.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I don't need to tell you or anyone who's been here what a beautiful setting it is. And so we're right downtown here in Cape Town, beautiful views of the mountain and the ocean from here. So there's a real celebration of motorsport.
Your team were singing your praises to me yesterday, mostly about your patience, because I don't think a lot of people realize that you do the stunt driving for all the commercials, which was shot in Cape Town yesterday. So is there sort of something to it? Is there something to just sort of hurry up and waiting all the time? How do you relax?
Well, you know, it's about using your time, isn't it? So filming does take a lot of time because you got to reset and what have you. But you know, they want to, and as in the producers want to create something which reflects well on the sport, and that's important for me. And it's important that we get the right message out there. So the public that are coming across Formula One for the first time are somehow as excited as we all are about the sport.
Yeah, it's great to see that the V8's here. Do you think Formula One, in terms of technology, has perhaps lost a little bit of that romantic element by going so sort of technologically advanced?
Well, I think Formula One has always found new ways to develop technologies, and some of those find their way onto the road cars of the future. I think the automotive industry needed or felt they needed to have a hybrid element to connect Formula One with the cars that we're driving on the open road. I think that the important thing for me is that Formula One remains not only the fastest form of racing, but it remains something that you look at and think, wow, I don't think I could do that. Otherwise, if we all think we can, then it loses an element of the admirational aspect of it. So I don't control the rules and regulations, but I'm certainly happy at the time that I raced.
Sure. There's such a great young crop of drivers at the moment. Do you think the sport's well positioned to sort of hand over to the next generation?
Yeah, the next generation should always be better than the previous. That's evolution, and I think in the case of like Charles Leclerc, we got Max Verstappen, other young drivers who are there, ready and waiting and capable to win races, to win championships. You know, people like Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, multiple world champions, are of course getting closer to their retirement than they are at the beginning of their career. Sure. And that's the generational shift, and it's always been there and will continue to be so, but I think that Formula One is in good hands.
I've been following the season extremely closely. One thing I really enjoy are your post-race interviews. I mean, does that just comes naturally to you? You understand the sport so well, obviously you know the characters, but is there a certain amount of preparation in there for you?
Well, I'm not a journalist, I'm an ex-driver, so you know, I would always respect those professionals in the field. And ultimately it's about trying to capture that moment, the emotion, the excitement, the disappointment, whatever it is of the race, and it's often quite difficult because you interview them several minutes after the end of the event. Yeah. So it's quite difficult for anyone to keep that elation or keep that disappointment, because in sport it teaches you that no matter how high you are, you will come back to earth at a certain point, and no matter how low you are, there's an opportunity at the next event to turn the page and try and come back up again. So we tend to go over the highs and the lows quite quickly and focus on the next event.
You said some great things in the press conference about an event like this inspiring the youth of South Africa. It's been a long time since I think Desiree Wilson, who was one of the only female Formula One drivers, and of course you're involved in Formula W, where we have a South African racing driver, Tamsin Pepper. Yeah. So just love to hear a little bit more about that and how South Africans can get involved.
Yeah, well, W Series, I think it's long overdue having a dedicated championship to really help empower and bring forward the women in motorsport. What's tended to happen is there's only been a handful come through at any given time, and they tend not to have been given the same opportunities as young boys in karting to really develop their skills. So they're always behind the curve, not in terms of talent, but in terms of experience, and then it gets expensive, and you know people then run out of funds. So W Series, we've pitched at Formula 3 level, 2 steps in Formula 1, and for me it's not about trying to find the first or the next, I should say, woman in Formula 1. It's about bringing more professional women to motorsport so they can have a career in the industry and touring cars and sports cars and Formula 1, whatever their talent allows them. And they have to, of course, be at the top of their game to be able to compete with Lewis and Max and people like that. So hopefully over the coming years we'll be able to see more women in motorsport.
Awesome. I'm really glad you're a part of that. It's really great to see you again. Enjoy yourself.
Oh, cool.
Have fun.
Thanks very much.
All right. Cheers. Thank you.
Just after my chat with David, and with pressure mounting before the first run of the day, I also had a quick chat with Red Bull engineer and display team manager Joe Robinson.
Joe Robinson, who is the chief mechanic of the Red Bull show car team. He's going to take us through what it takes to put on an event like this. Joe, great to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Thank you very much for your time. So obviously you've got a V8 here. Does it just take less people to run? Is it a less complex setup?
Yeah, I mean, it's still quite a complex setup. We still have to carry a lot of guys. We've got like 10 guys on site to run the car.
Yeah.
But by not involving the hybrid systems, it allows us to scale down a little bit, and it just means that we're a little more versatile where we can run the car. Okay. The technology involved in the hybrid is so advanced, it would just restrict us a little bit in how rapidly we can respond to things in the field.
The sound of an F1 car is what gives people goosebumps, and the V8 provides that.
It does, yeah. It creates some soundtrack, especially in amongst these amazing buildings in Cape Town. We're burning something in the region of 2 to 3 litres of fuel every 90 seconds. It's not as advanced as the more environmentally friendly hybrids that we run now, but it's much more of a dynamic showpiece, really. We're going to burn through a lot of Pirelli's rubber. We're going to create a lot of smoke, a lot of drama. And it is all about the noise and the sort of creating a vibrant atmosphere for the fans.
In terms of from DC's perspective, right? I see you got the tire warmers on. Obviously, that's really important. But what does DC have to look out for? What's the key things for him from taking this car around a circuit to taking it through some streets?
It's really important for us to have an experienced guy like DC with us, because it's quite a dynamic situation. We run the tire warmers so that the car's in the best possible position with the amount of grip we can give DC to play with, because he can control the grip on the rear axle by braking traction quite easily, but we need to be able to provide some control for braking on the front axle, so we go warm the tyres right up to 90 degrees, get them hot, get them sticky, and then from there DC can control the car. He's got to be really sharp and focused. It's an uneven surface, we're in the street, we weld down all the manhole covers and stuff like that before an event, but he's got to be alert to all those things, and he's got to be also managing all the controls of the car, keeping the temperature under control. Yeah. These things get really hot really fast.
I mean, the heat must be a bit of an issue, because obviously at race speed you got all that air coming through the engine, whereas here this is fairly slow, so you're managing the heat carefully as well.
Yeah, you'll see the guys are putting some dry ice in the side pods now, and we've got some fans that we've built onto the car to make them a bit more show car friendly. And then other than that, it's just down to DC talking to me on the radio, and we do the best we can to prolong the show.
You're in touch with him the whole time?
Yeah, absolutely. We have to be for a safety perspective, because whilst we are trying to put on a good show, it's important for us that everyone goes home having enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for bringing it to Cape Town.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us
here.
here. Thank you.
If you haven't seen our exclusive behind-the-scenes documentary yet, all you have to do is click on the link which has just appeared on your screen. You know you want to. Thanks for watching.